If we also look at the increasing profile and corporate governance, it's basically 7 years since the audit world changed forever with the disclosures about Enron, WorldCom and Adelphia's working practices. The focus was really on the changes and how they affected the accounting profession, but I think more fundamentally it was as much, if not more, disruption that was caused to the way that tax operates as it did for the accountants. Despite the disruption, positives were found as tax increasingly has become a topic in board meetings. People with no interest in tax advice are now keen to understand that advice, to understand what risks are involved and what potential exposures there may be from making front page news with various tax avoidance techniques. There is an increasing awareness that there is such a thing as aggressive tax planning. It isn't just high on the boardroom agenda, but it's also high on each and every revenue department's agenda as they seek to increase investigations to counteract aggressive planning which has gone too far. With this profile, there is clearly a need for a code of conduct by which we measure ourselves and each other to ensure that standards are set and the integrity of the profession is maintained. Obviously, I'm sure if any of you who are tax professionals here are well aware of the increased profile and the need for corporate governance. The resulting implementation of FIN 48 and changes to IFRS have made it crucial that tax professionals have to have a good understanding of the relationship between financial accounting and tax. Fundamentally, tax may not follow the accounting basis, although there has been a closer alignment, particularly within Singapore. This doesn't mean, however, that the accounting basis is followed. Tax professionals need to have an in-depth ability to compare and contrast book-to-tax differences and how they affect tax-based and financial reporting. FIN 48 has, to some extent, put the burden of addressing tax risk inherent in a business on the tax professional. It's therefore critical that the tax professional is able to detect issues and assess those risks under IFRS and particularly FAS 109 to understand and report on those tax risks. And that's not, whilst those may be US accounting standards, they're not just relevant to the US, they're also relevant to us in Singapore, particularly if anybody is working within US MNCs. Finally, what is the role of tax in society? Tax is also being brought to the forefront as a key driver of government policy globally. For example, as a result of the global recession and the part played by the financial services industry in the debacle, there was a significant fiscal cost to the government interventions to support the financial systems. Tax is being used as a tool to recover costs of this financial support for those sectors of the economy thought to be most culpable. Examples include temporary bonus taxes in the UK and France, as well as the US financial crisis responsibility fee. Similar concerns with the state of the environment have seen tax being used as a tool to encourage greener processes and shift usage to greener technology. As tax professionals, we need to be at the forefront of such debate to provide value add in advising on the impact of the policy as well as thought leadership in the formulation of those policies themselves. We need to ensure that through appropriate training and education and imposition of standards, future generations of tax professionals are developing the appropriate skill sets to lead such debates. So in conclusion, the tax practice today is too complex to be based solely on knowing the legislation. A good tax advisor, and I also include IRAS in this as much as those from the accounting or legal side or industry, must not only be technically proficient in the tax law, but also have the ability to communicate their knowledge effectively, using the vast array of technology advances, and integrate all this within other business expertise that they acquire. To address this challenging environment, the ITPAs have taken the initiative to introduce a core competency framework for entry into the tax profession. This framework, which identifies a set of core competencies addressing the skills that students should possess on entry into the tax profession, regardless of the career path that they choose. I think this is a very welcome move. Accreditation will provide clarity on the standards and level attained of an individual, both to would-be employers as well as potential clients, and in fact any other stakeholders seeking to use the information produced. Whilst it may not seem to be the holy grail of accreditation standards, at least initially, those in the tax profession should welcome this move as a means of raising the standards and ultimately the profile of tax professionals and their profession. And with that, thank you very much.